From St. Petersburg, Florida, here is New York's new National League baseball team, the New York Mets. On every ball club, just about the most important thing is the hitting element. You have been watching Meet the Mets, a preview of New York's new National League Baseball club.
Fresh from Florida, it's Mets Baseball 92. Live from the St. Louis County Stadium in Port St. Lucie, Florida. Tonight, the New York Mets meet the Los Angeles Dodgers. Mets Baseball 92 is brought to you by Bud Dry. Dry brewed so it drinks light, yet satisfies completely. By Midas. Remember, nobody beats Midas. Nobody. By your Nissan dealers who challenge you to find a better car or a better deal. By Federal Express. All around the world, our most important package is yours. By the 9-inch Yellow Pages. If it's out there, it's in here. By the Cadillac Tri-Statesman, the Cadillac dealers of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. And by Macy's, we're part of your life. Pitching for the Dodgers tonight, newcomer Tom Candiotti, 2-0 so far this spring with a 2.57 earned run average. And on the mound for the Mets, Anthony Young, 0-1 with a 3.27 ERA.
Hello again, everybody, and good evening. I'm Tim McCarver, along with Ralph Kiner. I think you remember last winter when Jeff Torborg signed a 4-year contract to manage the Mets. Well, this is his first year, and today the Los Angeles Dodgers announced the extension of Tommy Lasorda's contract through the 1993 season. And Ralph, it's unbelievable that the Dodgers have had only 2 managers over the last 39 years, Walter Alston and now Tommy Lasorda.
And Tommy, the slim Tommy Lasorda, has really had quite a bit of success with the Dodgers. 2 World Championships, 4 National League pennants, 6 Western Division titles, 43 years in the Dodger organization. He was a pitcher for the Dodgers and did appear briefly in the major leagues for the Dodgers.
He is a character and has served in just about every capacity for the Dodgers. He's been a scout, he's been a manager, he's been a coach under Walter Alston, and he went out this winter, and it was through his encouragement that they got Tom Candiotti, and we'll have a chance to see Tom Candiotti pitch tonight, a knuckleballer. And it's been a while since we've seen a knuckleballer in this league.
Well, it'll be interesting to watch him. Also, Darryl Strawberry and Eric Davis in the lineup. This might be the starting lineup for the Dodgers opening day.
And we'll see the game right after this from Bud Dry.
Well, welcome back to Port St. Lucie. We have Brett Saberhagen with us, 2-time Cy Young Award winner in the American League. And Brett, you're now in the National League, and there's always a little apprehension, at least I felt that way when I was moved to another league, about what might take place. How about you?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to it. It's a whole different ball game, so to speak, over here. It's played the same way, but as far as no DH, I don't have to face a DH anymore.
Well, you'd like that.
Oh, I love to see a pitcher come up there, yeah. I get to hit, I get to run, so it's a different aspect for me. And I think just getting used to a few of the guys, not knowing everybody over here, but I'll be well informed about them.
Well, still a low outside curveball and high inside fastball or sinkers in the right spot anyway, no matter where you are.
They always help, yeah, that's for sure.
Brett Saberhagen, and we'll be right back right after this from Macy's.
Starting for the Mets tonight, Anthony Young. Anthony 0-1. This is his 4th spring appearance, his 2nd start. And he'll be facing Tom Candiotti of the Dodgers.
And for the Dodgers, Brett Butler will lead it off. He'll be in center, batting second is second baseman Lenny Harris. And batting in the third position, it'll be Cal Daniels. He'll be at first base. Batting fourth, right fielder Darryl Strawberry. Batting fifth, left fielder Eric Davis. Batting sixth, third baseman Dave Hansen. Batting seventh and catching Mike Scioscia. The eighth batter will be the shortstop Jose Offerman. And Tom Candiotti, the pitcher.
Defensively for the Mets, Vince Coleman in left field, Howard Johnson in center, Bobby Bonilla in right, Dave Magadan at third base, Bill Pacoda at short, Willie Randolph at second, Eddie Murray the first baseman, and Todd Hundley behind the plate. And the first pitch from Anthony Young is a strike to the Dodger leadoff batter, Brett Butler.
And the Mets right on top of him. He's a great bunter. 21 bunt base hits last year.
Hits it hard to short. Pacoda to Murray. One out. Bill Pacoda was slated to start at third base, and Kevin Elster was supposed to play shortstop, but Kevin came down with pulled a muscle in his left quadricep. That's in the front part of the leg between the knee and the hip. And Dave Magadan inserted at third base as Lenny Harris, the third baseman, fouls one off, 0-1. The umpires for tonight's game, Angel Hernandez behind home plate, Jerry Meals over at first, Scott Potter at second base, and Wally Bell down at third base. 0-1 to Lenny Harris, just underway. Popped up in the infield. Pacoda, the shortstop, 2 outs. Not unusual to see Lenny Harris in there against the right-hander Anthony Young. Lenny Harris starting all 94 games that the Dodgers faced right-handed pitching last year. Anthony Young 2-5 for the Mets last year, but he worked only 49 1/3 innings, which means that he is still eligible. If he makes the club and does well, he's eligible for the Rookie of the Year.
He's got a tough battle to make that club as a fifth starter. Here's Cal Daniels playing first base, normally an outfielder.
1-1 to Cal.
Dodgers, of course, losing Eddie Murray, the first baseman, so they've been more or less experimenting at first base with Daniels.
That's the splitter from Young. A ball and 2 strikes now to Cal Daniels. Anthony from Houston, Texas. Attended the University of Texas, was a defensive back with Andrew Ware, as a matter of fact. Andre Ware played on the same team as Ware when Ware won the Heisman Trophy in 1989. Breaking ball gets Daniels. So a strong inning for Anthony Young. No score, middle of the first. Ralph and I will be back right after this from Chevrolet. Tom Candiotti has had a strong spring. This is his 4th outing. He has won 2. He has lost none. He signed with the Dodgers as a free agent over the winter after being traded from Cleveland to Toronto in the middle of last year.
Leading off for your New York Mets.
And the lineup for the Mets, Vince Coleman will lead it off. He'll be in left field. Batting second, Willie Randolph, the second baseman. Batting third, Bobby Bonilla in right field. Batting fourth, Howard Johnson in center field. Batting fifth, Eddie Murray at first base. Batting sixth, Bill Pacoda at shortstop. Batting seventh, Magadan. And batting eighth is Todd Hundley, and the pitcher Young batting ninth.
Vince Coleman leads it off, and the knuckleball is inside, ball 1. Coleman, a strong spring. He has 4 extra base hits, 3 doubles, a triple, batting .333. Strike 1 with the fastball, 1-1. Curveball hit deep to right field, but Strawberry is over as the wind holds it up. 1 away. Anytime Vince Coleman hits the ball in the air, he has not had a good at bat.
He has to hit the ball on the ground to utilize his speed, and he tried to get him to hit the ball in the air. That time he had a good curveball to hit on the ground, and was an easy out.
Darryl Strawberry, a familiar face to the fans in New York.
And to the fans here.
And here in Port St. Lucie. Willie Randolph now the batter. No score here in the bottom of the first inning, and the curveball is outside. You know, the perception, Ralph, about Tom Candiotti is that he is a knuckleball pitcher. But from what we understand, there's the slider that's tapped foul, 1-1. What we understand, he throws as many breaking balls as he does knuckleballs.
Not like a Phil Niekro or the last knuckleballer that pitched for the Dodgers, Charlie Huff, who rely mostly on knuckleballs. The only time they throw anything but a knuckleball is when they get behind in the count.
Charlie Huff now in the starting rotation for the Chicago White Sox after a long tenure with the Texas Rangers. There's the knuckleball, and it's high, ball 2. 2 balls and a strike. See that?
You can see the knuckles of the fingertips actually on the ball there as he takes the move to home plate.
Bunt attempt by Randolph, foul back, 2-2.
You know, knuckleball is really a misnomer because you really throw it with your nails and use the fingertips and the nails. In fact, a lot of knuckleball pitchers will spend their time manicuring their nails before they pitch a ball game. That's a grip for a breaking ball or a fastball. When he goes into his glove is when he goes to the knuckleball grip.
And that was the knuckleball, and he fouls it back. Still 2-2 to Willie Randolph.
I'll tell you, I never could figure out how to hit a knuckleball. It's an impossible pitch to really try and hit it, almost tougher to catch. But he does not throw all knuckleballs. He goes to the breaking ball. There you see him set his knuckleball into his fingertips. And you say, well, why can't you read that? But it doesn't do any good to even know it's coming. It does too. In fact, that puts you in the slump right then when you know it's coming.
And there it was inside, 3-2. So you would assume that Randolph is going to get something other than the knuckleball as Jeff Torborg looks on. And the slider punched to right field for a base hit. Randolph, of course, has faced Candiotti many times. He's smiling with Tom McCarver, the first base umpire, and Cal Daniels. Little punch shot right here.
You know, the real approach to hitting him, and you see the slider there, is to not swing at the knuckleball and try to make him throw the other pitch, which you can hit.
That's exactly right. Try to get him away from his strength, and that means try to stay ahead of him as opposed to the other way around. Here's Bobby Bonilla. Knuckler is outside, ball 1.
He was a minor league pitcher with not much success until he did learn how to throw the knuckleball, and it was taught to him by Phil Niekro, one of the great knuckleball pitchers of all time. The best I ever saw was Hoyt Wilhelm.
Talking to Candiotti, that's a balk right there, called by home plate umpire Angel Hernandez. So a balk by Candiotti sends Randolph to second with 1 out in this scoreless ball game. Bottom of the first inning, and Scioscia wants to talk to Candiotti.
Right here, see if you can pick up the balk motion. He goes over to first base, didn't get his back foot off the pitching rubber, which you have to do with that spin move. And the balk was called by the home plate umpire.
A ball and no strikes now to Bobby Bonilla. Bonilla with 18 home runs and 100 RBIs last year. And there goes Randolph. Out at third base. Willie Randolph trying to steal on the knuckleball is thrown out by Scioscia. 2 outs.
One of the things you can do with a knuckleball pitcher is steal, hoping that the catcher won't handle the ball cleanly. Scioscia in this case did, and gets off a good throw.
And I think he got the curveball.
Slider or breaking ball, yeah.
Curveball tapped to third, and that's the 3rd out. So the Mets threaten. They do not score here in the first. Scoreless ball game after one. And we'll return right after this from Bud Drive.
Ladies and gentlemen, each time during the St. Lucie Mets season, 2 lucky fans will have the opportunity to qualify for the Mercedes-Benz Dream Home Giveaway. Then on St. Lucie Mets fans.
What a surprise, a reaction for number 44. Darryl Strawberry will lead it off for the Dodgers to open the second inning. Straw with 3 spring training home runs. And the fastball from Anthony Young is low, ball 1.
Hit 265 last year for the Dodgers with 25 home runs and 99 RBIs.
Fouls it back, 1-1. He had a terrific second half. He led all major leaguers in RBIs with 69. You remember he had that strained left shoulder. He ran into the right field fence at Dodger Stadium against the Montreal Expos, and that limited his play. Missed about 6 weeks of the first half. Pops this one up out of play, 1-2.
9 straight years he has hit 25 or more home runs. The all-time record from the start of a career in the major leagues for 25 or more home runs is Eddie Matthews. Matthews did it 11 straight years. Babe Ruth hit 25 or more home runs a total of 15 years.
George Herman, huh?
The big guy.
Slider gets him. So Strawberry strikes out. Strikeout number 2 for Anthony Young, and quite a reaction here from the crowd, and quite a reaction from Doc Gooden. The words of Darryl Strawberry. Darryl penning a book that came out this spring, co-authored with Art Russ Jr., or ghostwritten by Art Russ Jr., as Eric Davis comes up and takes a strike on the fastball. 0-1, and a strong outing so far by Anthony Young. One and one. High, ball 2, 2-1.
Eric Davis and Darryl Strawberry, good friends, and played a lot of semi-pro ball together in the LA area.
Fighting slider, swing and a miss. I don't think I've seen Young with better stuff than he's shown so far tonight.
He's battling for a starting job with the New York Mets. Pete Schurik also battling for that start.
Strike 3 consecutive strikeouts for Anthony Young. 2 outs here in the second.
Beautiful combination of pitches there to both Strawberry and Davis
Number 15.
for 2 strikeouts, and that's 3 in a row. Here he goes to the fastball after setting up the fastball with a breaking pitch. And he gets a call from the home plate umpire, Hernandez.
Dave Hansen, the third baseman, is the batter. And he takes a strike. Biggest pitch in any sequence of any hitters at bat is the first pitch, strike 1. Talk to all the pitching coaches and all the pitchers, and that's what they try to do. Throw the first pitch over for a strike, or at least to get the hitter to swing at his pitch if the guy's a first ball hitter. 1-1 now to Hansen.
When you get ahead like that, you take away the guessing from the hitter.
Change is over. 1-2 now to Dave.
Well, he's really mixed his pitches well here in the start. Right here he pulls the string on this one after the hard stuff, and it's a good changeup. Good movement on that pitch.
Got him on strikes. 4 straight strikeouts by Anthony Young. No score, middle of the second. We're back after this from Chemical.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time,
Tim McCarver along with Ralph Kiner here at St. Lucie County Stadium. As Doc Gooden is talking things over with Mel Stottlemyre. Nice relaxed atmosphere, and one of the really nice things about spring training, Ralph, being on the circuit for a long time as we have been, is running into your friends from the baseball walks of life. And tonight, no exception, as Howard Johnson steps in to lead off the second inning. Scoreless game, and the knuckleball is a strike, 0-1.
Sort of like old home week, you know, when you go back to the high school for the reunion. And got a few talented people up there in our broadcast booth right now dropping by.
Keith Hernandez, terrific player for the Mets for so many years. Traded for by Frank Cashin. Neil Allen back in 1983. Jim Cott, also announcer for the Minnesota Twins and CBS. All he did was pitch for 25 years, that's all. Then the knuckleball for a strike, 1-2.
Pitched 25 years longer than any other pitcher, and now has a bad arm.
And it's his right one. And it's his right shoulder. That's right.
Gonna have an arm operation.
Popped up left side. And Dave Hansen is there. The only one base runner in this ball game, and that was Willie Randolph, and he was erased on a stolen base. Keith looks like he could get out there and play a little bit right now. Kitty could pitch. We could get an old-timers game in the booth here, Ralph. What do you think?
I tell you, pretty good team.
Andy could handle things also. Andy's been around since 1962. High home at the Polo Grounds. Eddie Murray spanks one to right field on the first pitch.
Shortstop, number 32, Bill Pagoda.
So Murray's on at first base. That'll bring up Bill Pagoda, the shortstop. Bill came over with Brett Saberhagen over the winter. Kevin McReynolds, Keith Miller, Greg Jeffries going to Kansas City, and a strike to Pagoda. Beautiful evening here in Port St. Lucie, Florida. Knuckleball inside corner.
Well, the knuckleball and not handled by Scioscia. Hard to catch. You see him fight it. Got the club. You really try to block it more than anything else so it doesn't get by.
Another knuckleball, shallow center field, in is Butler, and he's there. And he makes the play, the throw back to first, but Murray's back in time. 2 outs.
Butler set a National League record last year when he played in 161 games in the outfield without making an error.
It's not the major league record. Rocky Colavito holds that. 162 games without an error.
He is a terrific ball player.
Good player, isn't he? Does a lot of things well. He can track them down. Great on-base percentage. Good bunter. Ideal leadoff man.
And good on the club. He is a real battler.
Dave Magadan now the batter. 2 outs, a runner at first, no score here in the second. Ball 1 to Magadan. You notice that big mitt that Scioscia has behind home plate. That mitt designed by the late Paul Richards back in the late 50s. I think Gus Triandos was going to needed a bigger mitt to catch Hoyt Wilhelm. So they went to that pie-shaped mitt. There's a strike with the knuckleball, 1-1.
It's awful much like a first baseman's glove, and And actually, when they first designed that glove for Gus Triondos, it was too big, and they put a limit on the size of a catcher's glove because of that. They cut it down a bit.
Curveball low, ball 2, 2-1.
There's a first baseman's glove. Knuckleball is not throwing hard. It probably is throwing about like a changeup. It just floats up there and then takes off in different directions. There's no pattern to the way it breaks.
The best knuckleballs that are thrown, if you're a hitter or a catcher and the ball's coming into you, are the ones with no spin. Those dead spin pitches are the ones that break the most. As Magadan fouls it back, 2-2. The best way to catch a knuckleball is to not extend the arms. When you extend the arms, they become harder, and the ball has a tendency to bounce away. If you keep your hands close to your chest and close to the body, you give it a chance to break and follow it all the way. That's generally thought to be, and I think it is, the best way to catch it. As a matter of fact, Duke Snider said he learned how to hit a knuckleball by catching one thrown by Gil Hodges.
Gil had a great knuckleball.
I've heard that Gil Hodges had a terrific knuckleball, and Duke Snider used to stand on the side and play catch with him, and he says he learned how to hit it by catching Hodges' knuckleball. Ball 3, 3-2, so Murray will be off.
Some of your best knuckleball throwers are outfielders or infielders. When you're warming up, they experiment with that knuckleball. Well, I thought you were going to say Bob Uecker had the best way to catch it. Let it stop rolling and then pick it up.
It's the most effective way to catch it. Three, two outs, and there goes Murray, and the breaking ball misses. Socia thought it was a strike. But home plate umpire Angel Hernandez says no, and the Mets have runners at first and second with 2 outs, and Todd Hundley coming up.
Well, he goes to the breaking ball there and misses, just misses. Socia actually catching the ball down and away, which doesn't help the pitcher. And if he catches that ball up and in, he has a chance to get the call.
Todd Hundley batting only 133, but he was hitless in his first 21 at-bats before he broke out of it last week. Todd Hundley has the job behind home plate. The Mets feel he is ready. As the breaking ball connects, 1-1 now to the son of former Major League catcher Randy Hundley. Randy, a catcher in the big leagues for 12 years.
Better known now as a man who started the fantasy camps.
Fastball for a strike. 1-2 to Hundley.
That's the thing that really gets you as a hitter. You're looking for all that other stuff, and then they throw a fastball right down the middle and you take it.
Well, he'll get the knuckleball here, I would think. And it is, and he fouls it back. So if the Dodgers are using the first sign, Socia went to the wiggle, and then he went 2-1-2. The wiggle, as Tommy Lasorda knows, usually is the knuckleball. So we'll see if it's a knuckleball again. So he went to the wiggle on the first sign. It'll probably be another knuckler. And it is, and it's back toward left. Base hit. Murray will come around to score. Magadan to third, and the Mets on top 1-0. So Todd Hundley coming through with a big 2-out base hit as he doubles to left field. We assume it's a double, but it could be a single going to second on the throw. Mets on top 1-0.
Real bad play by Eric Davis in left field. He's got to throw to second base on that ball to stop the runner at first. He had no chance at home, and his throw is way offline to top it off. But he's got to go to second base and stop the runner from getting in the scoring position. Murray's going to score easily. The throw way offline, as you can see. Davis playing left field now with Butler, the center fielder. Davis mostly a center fielder in his major league career.
You know, ball as Anthony Young waves through one, 0-1 to Young. Of all the things that you can do wrong on a baseball field, being in between might be the worst approach, and that's what that throw indicated from Eric Davis. Then he was in between, allowing the runners to advance. 0-2 now to Young. Outside, ball 1. 1-0 New York here in the second inning. Young down on strikes. First strikeout for Candiotti, but the Mets score on a couple of hits. They strand 2. It's 1-0 New York after 2, and we'll be back after this from your Cadillac Tri-Statesman. It is a lovely evening here in Port St. Lucie, the spring training site of the New York Mets. For the 4th year, the Mets are down here. Gosh, it seems like those 4 years have flown by, huh?
Can't believe that.
Mets used to share spring training with the St. Louis Cardinals in St. Petersburg, but it was really the Cardinals' home field. And I understand that's what the Baltimore Orioles are doing this spring, as Mike Scioscia takes ball 1. There's a strike, 1-1.
Well, the Yankees had the distinction of sharing Al Lang Field with St. Louis, and the Yankees moved over to Fort Lauderdale. I left it open for the Mets to take over, and they moved in 1962 at Al Lang Field in St. Petersburg.
Ball and 2 strikes now to Mike Scioscia, who has caught more games for the Dodgers than any other catcher. 1,324 games. We mentioned the managers before the game and how consistent the Dodgers are in their approach to managers. It's similar with catchers. Scioscia, Roseboro, Yeager, of course there was Campanella.
And also Torborg was in there for a while.
Yeah, right. Tapper toward third. Tough play for Magadan, but a lot of time because Scioscia is not a fast runner. That is 7 in a row now, retired by Anthony Young.
Well, Soto said about Scioscia's running that in a race with a pregnant woman, he would finish 3rd. So here you get an idea, as Magadan has plenty of time. And
Mike out by a step and a half at first base. A strong performance by Anthony Young as Jose Offerman tries to bunt the first pitch, and he bunts through it. 0-1 now to Jose Offerman, and I think if the Dodgers are going to contend, this is the guy that has got to make a major stride toward that contention. Inside, ball 1.
He's really the key to them, because if he fields well, and that's more important to them than anything, and he's had trouble fielding, they'll be all right. But they gave up on the previous shortstop, Griffin, and they said, we're going to go with Offerman. Offerman broke in well. He had a home run, his first at bat in the major leagues. They said, oh, we finally found our shortstop.
It's this one hard to center field, but Howard Johnson hardly has to move. 2 out.
Offerman hit that home run in his very first at bat. He was the 61st to hit a home run, and his first at bat, and the 55th to ever do it in his first plate appearance. And he hasn't had one since.
Tom Candiotti is the batter, and he hits this one up the middle, and Willie Randolph is there, and he throws out Candiotti. 3 perfect innings for Anthony Young. As a matter of fact, only 1 ball has been hit out of the infield as the Mets lead 1-0 after 2.5, and we're back after this from Mazda.
Well, fans, the 1992 season ticket sales will be closing shortly. So if you haven't already purchased season tickets, contact the Met sales department now to make an appointment to view the available locations for the 82-game full season ticket, the 49-game weekend plan, or the 28-game weekend plan. We have a season ticket plan that's perfect for you, so call the Met sales department at 718-507-1234 for details. The 1992 Mets. Hardball is back.
The professorial Jeff Torborg. Funny how some managers have different styles as far as getting the point across. I don't think there is anybody who gets it across in a more professorial manner than Jeff Torborg.
He reminds me an awful lot of Gil Hodges. They're not exactly the same, but they really take the game that seriously. It's a hard-nosed game for them.
Knuckleball outside and low to Vince Coleman. Mets on top 1-0 here in the bottom of the third. Fastball foul back as Coleman tries to bunt. 1-1. We talked about it the last time during our last broadcast, Ralph. The Mets are going to be, as regulars, will probably have 5 switch hitters in their lineup. Coleman, Howard Johnson, Eddie Murray, Bobby Bonilla, and Todd Hundley. And Jeff Torborg, graduating from Rutgers, his undergraduate degree, got his master's from Montclair State. Slider misses inside, 2-1. And his thesis for his master's was on the art of platooning. And here it is. He's got 5 switch hitters with the Mets. No platooning there. I think the one thing about the switch hitters is that it's going to prevent a lot of moves in the middle innings. The left-hander to face the left-handed batter. And the Mets have indeed been vulnerable to left-handed pitching the last few years. 2-2 to Coleman.
Really stabilizes your lineup. You don't have to change those players that much.
Right. Coleman down on the knuckleball. Second strikeout for Candiotti. 1 out here in the third inning. That'll bring up Willie Randolph, who singled to right in the first inning.
Of course, the Dodgers are well used to switch hitters. They had an entire infield of switch hitters a few years back.
Jimmy Lefebvre, the manager of the Chicago Cubs now, was a member of that infield, as a matter of fact. A slider on the corner. Strike 1 to Randolph. Knuckleball hitting. So Randolph is hit by a pitch. He'll go to first.
If you're going to get hit by a knuckleball. It's a nice soft pitch to take.
Mets trying to even their record at 9-9 for the spring. Bonilla fouls it off down the right field line. 0-1 now to Bobby Bonilla. Mets fans will probably get used to seeing Bobby Bonilla tap his helmet. He does, sometimes he does more than tap it. He hits it rather hard with his bat.
That'll get your attention.
I guess that's what he's trying to do, get his own attention. Knuckleball is low, 1-1. Often he'll foul a ball off and start poking at his helmet. Mike Covich flashing signs at third. Over at first base, Tom McCraw, the hitting instructor of the Mets. There's Tommy.
Very intelligent man. I talked to him on Kiner's Corner on our last broadcast. He's got some great theory. He spent most of his time in the American League.
Curveball on the outside corner to Bonilla. A ball and 2 strikes to Bobby Bonilla with the Mets on top 1-0. Bottom of the 3rd inning with Willie Randolph at first base and 1 away. Knuckleball just misses by a knuckle. 2-2 now to Bonilla.
Good look at the dancer, as it's sometimes called.
Low. Ball 3. 3-2. So we'll see if Jeff Torborg sends Randolph here with the count 3-2 and 1 out to Bonilla. Outfield deep and straight away for Bobby. If you're a runner at first base and you are stealing on a 3-2 count, you want to make sure the pitcher pitches home. That's what a first base coach will often remind the runner down there. There goes Randolph, tapped toward first, and Daniels with only 1 play, and that's on Bonilla. There are 2 outs as Randolph moves to second, and coming up Howard Johnson.
Center fielder, number 20, Howard Johnson.
Well, it's a full count pitch, and he goes to the breaking ball again. These are the things you really watch. You see the pattern, how he pitches in situations for the regular season, and his reputation is that he is not what you would call a full-fledged knuckleball pitcher. Most of your knuckleball pitchers in that situation will not give in, and they'll throw the knuckleball whether they walk you or not.
Yeah, not to a guy like Bonilla, that's right. Howard Johnson takes the knuckler outside, and that's certainly true in this situation, too. I doubt that they will give in to Hojo here with first base open, a 1-0 Met lead. 2 outs here in the 3rd. 1-1.
A lot of managers don't like to have knuckleball pitchers. They change the tempo of the game. They put you in a slump more than anything else. Tommy Lasorda with his first knuckleball pitcher.
Of course, he had Charlie Huff, but Charlie Huff wasn't in the starting rotation like Candiotti will be. Johnson grounds right side through the legs of Lenny Harris, and Willie Randolph scores. 2-0 Mets, an error and an unearned run. The error coming on Lenny Harris, the Dodgers second baseman.
Number 33, Eddie Murray.
Well, it's a big error, a 2-out error, and it scores a run. Rather routine play, and Lenny Harris doesn't get down to the ground. It goes right under his glove. The ideal way to field that ball, get your glove in the ground. If it takes a bad hop up, you can come up faster than you could ever go down.
That's exactly right. Well said. That way you keep the ball in front of you, and if you do boot the ball, the runner doesn't score. As it was, Randolph scores as Murray taps to second. The Mets score an unearned run without a hit in the 3rd inning and lead 2-0 after 3. We'll be back after this from your Tri-State Toyota dealer. Lovely evening here in Florida, where the Mets train. They'll be breaking camp in about 10 days. And in to call it for you for the middle innings, here's Ralph Kiner.
Okay, Tim, and Anthony Young, who has pitched through his first 9 batters in perfect order, striking out 4, will take on Brett Butler for the 2nd time. Butler grounded out to short his first time up, and again the Mets defense Butler to guard against the bunt for the base hit. Fakes moving into bunting position and then squares back and takes for ball 1. Butler having a good spring. He's had 11 hits, one of them a home run. The home run was against the Mets. And he goes after the fastball and fouls it back. He was behind that pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike. Butler's second to Bobby Bonds in on-base percentage last year. An ideal, I should say Barry Bonds. An ideal leadoff batter. And that pitch, a ball, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. He had an on-base average of 401. Barry Bonds had an on-base average of 411.
Mentioned his 21 bunt hits. Well, he had 40 infield hits.
Interesting stat that I had never seen they had on Butler. He put 50 of his bunts into play, meaning that they were either base hits or fielded. And that was second to Otis Nixon, who put 59, and there he attempts the bunt, doesn't put it in play. And the count goes to 3-2, and he's unhappy with himself.
So I guess from that you could come up with a bunting percentage, like a batting average. So he was 21 for 50, right?
That's a tremendous
Yeah.
percentage. So is what you can do when you have that good speed, and of course that's what the Mets want Vince Coleman to do. And Coleman has better speed than Butler.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention,
Butler
please.
led the National League in games played, runs scored.
Executive office, please.
Scored 112 runs. Also in walks, he had 108 walks, and he also led the league in singles with 162 singles.
Second consecutive year he led the league in runs scored with 2 different teams. The Giants 2 years ago and the Dodgers last year.
And he gets on at a walk. So that's the first base runner for the Dodgers. As Butler walks, the Mets leading 2-0. And it will bring up Lenny Harris, who helped the Mets to their unearned run in the last inning. Harris popped up to short his first time up. Fourth walk for Anthony Young this spring, and working a total of 14 innings. And he misses with a fastball. Harris hit .287 last year with 3 home runs in 145 games for the Dodgers. Lives in Miami, Florida. Butler with 38 stolen bases last year. Bounced out to Eddie Murray, who goes for the force play at second and gets it. The throw to first will not get Harris, but they get the faster runner, the lead runner, 1 away.
You could see how deliberate Murray was, making sure that he threw to the inside target on a slowly hit ball to a first baseman. You notice how he throws to the inside target. Now obviously if he were to field the ball behind the runner, then the shortstop would be on the other side of second base. But in a situation like that, your shortstop and first baseman team up, knowing that they probably won't get 2 and making sure they get the lead runner.
And that brings up Cal Daniels as Harris draws a throw at first. Harris with 4 stolen bases in 4 attempts this spring. Daniels was struck out looking at a breaking ball his first time up. And it's chopped out to second. They might get 2. There's 1, and it's dropped in the act of throwing. So the force play affected at second base. But Dakota, in his haste, tried to get the double play, lost possession of the ball trying to throw it.
Now I'll tell you, 4, 6, 3 double plays are very, very difficult to turn when you have a runner who can run as well as Daniels does. And Pacoda, in his haste, it was proper haste, though. I mean, he was supposed to hurry that throw. He tried to, and the ball came out of his hand. So no error on the play because they did get one out.
And that brings up Darryl Strawberry, and he's greeted by the fans here. Darryl was struck out swinging at a slider his first time up. Capacity house, over 6,000. And a swing and a miss. Strawberry came into this game hitting .240 this spring with 3 home runs. Darryl leads the major league players in home runs over his last 9 years with 280. Dale Murphy second to him at 268.
Eddie Murray playing behind Daniels at first base, and he crept in behind him. Daniels diving back. That's a design play.
First base coach has to protect you on that play. You
Right.
can't tell that first baseman is coming in from behind, and that pitch a ball. It's 1-1. Daniels at first, Strawberry at the plate. That's leading 2-0. Strawberry really ripped Daniels this winter, and there's no love lost between these two.
That's true. Daniels said he is not forgetting it either. He said other people might forget it, but he won't. Here's that pickoff attempt one more time. There it is right there. You see Murray going to the bag and Young throwing to the bag knowing Murray's going to be there.
And now Young comes back with a fastball and gets a called strike, and it's 2-2. Strawberry accused Daniels of jaking. Daniels retorted, Strawberry was invisible the first half of the season. How can he get on me? Swung on and missed. Oh, Strawberry struck out for the second time. 5th strikeout for Anthony Young, who has been brilliant. The only base runner on the walk, and the score at the end of 3.5 innings. The Mets 2, the Dodgers nothing. And here's a word from Macy's. Bottom of the 4th, the Mets leading 2-0, and the Mets have announced that Mrs. William Norrie Shea, the widow of New York's baseball pioneer Bill Shea, will toss out the first pitch on opening day as the Mets launch the 31st home season of baseball with a 140 contest. That'll be against Montreal at Shea Stadium on Friday, April the 10th. Bill Shea, the man who brought National League Baseball back to New York and for whom the stadium is named after. And his widow will be throwing out that first ball, and the national anthem, Tim, will be sung by Glenn Close.
Oh, that's great.
She has sung the national anthem many times for the Mets, and was one of the great actresses.
April 10th against the Montreal Expos. That's after the St. Louis Cardinals series.
And Bill Pacoda hits a fly ball to center field. Butler right there, and Pacoda's out.
Mets open against the Cardinals in St. Louis on April the 6th, and we will have that game, 7:30 New York time.
31 years ago, the Mets opened up their first official game in the National League against the St. Louis Cardinals.
In St. Louis.
In St. Louis.
Sportsman's Park. Brandon Dotier.
Now the batter is Dave Magadan. Dave walked his first time up. Pacoda now is flied out to center his 2 times up. Magadan, a late entry into this ball game. Evan Elster scratched at the last minute. And Dave getting on base with that walk as he takes strike 1. Pop foul. It'll be back into the stands out of play.
Matter of fact, the St. Louis Cardinals will be celebrating their 100th anniversary this year. 100 years in the National League. As you look at Sid Fernandez, he'll be the next pitcher. What an act to follow. Anthony Young. Great performance tonight. Great performances here on WWOR.
Glenn Close is appearing on Broadway in Death and the Maiden. She'll be singing the national anthem opening day. The Mets got rained out in their first scheduled game in St. Louis in 1962, and then played the opener the next day. Little blooper down the right side, broken bat, foul ball, so the count stays at strike 2.
See, that's a bad exchange right there. You break a bat and you foul a ball off. You don't like to do that, but a hitter will break a bat for a hit
every time.
Oh, man. Spring training doesn't matter. You don't like to break a bat. You break a bat and then hit it foul. You don't like that. But if that ball were fair, he would have taken that in a minute.
The Mets in 1962 opened the season with 9 consecutive losses, but they improved, though. The next year, they lost only their first 8 the next year. And then the third year they were in existence, they lost their first 7, so they were continually improving. So Magadan back to the bench on the strikeout. Third strikeout for Tom Candiotti, the starting pitcher for the Dodgers. And with 2 men out here in the 4th, it'll bring up Todd Huntley, who singled in the first run of the game. He's going to bunt, but he bunts it foul, bunting ahead of the pitcher.
Well, you know, that's not a bad play. Most of the time, when you have 2 outs and nobody on, it's a bad play. But in this particular situation, if you want to clear the pitcher, then it's not a bad play. And I think that's what Hundley was trying to do.
And a ball call, 1-1.
If he were hitting 7th and did that, or any other position, it's a bad play.
Now, he has no excuse, though, but he could always go back and say, hey, I was trying to get the pitcher up there so we could start the next inning.
Well, I mean, it makes sense in that situation. If you want to clear the pitcher, then it's a good idea, unless you're a guy who can hit 10 or 12 home runs a year. I mean, you're giving up a chance to leave your feet one time.
There's that knuckleball again.
And I mean,
1 and 2.
I think Hundley will work himself into becoming a little stronger and becoming a more powerful hitter. He had 12 home runs last year
At Tidewater.
at Tidewater.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Huntley will be a rookie this year. He did not play in enough games or have enough at bats to qualify as a rookie last year, so he can be in that race for Rookie of the Year. He bounces this one to Lenny Harris, the second baseman, and the Mets go in order. The score at the end of 4, the Mets 2, the Dodgers nothing, and here's a word from Bud Dry. Top of the 5th inning, the Mets leading 2-0. And on the mound for the Mets, Anthony Young, who has not given up a base hit while striking out 5. The only base runner, a walk to Brett Butler in the 4th. And he'll be pitching to Eric Davis as his first batter here in the 5th inning. Davis was caught looking at a fastball his first time up. So Anthony Young, a fine 4 innings. John Franco going out to the bullpen area. Eric Davis, very talented young player from the LA area, now with the Dodgers, and he takes a fastball for strike 1. He has a home run average of a home run every 16.1 at bats. Best average ever for a Cincinnati ball player, and he pops this one up. Dakota, the shortstop, making the call, and Davis is out for the second time. Sellout crowd of 6,568 here, and it's kind of a cool evening for Florida. Had some rain prior to the ball game. The tarp was on the field, but now pleasant night.
It's been windy down here this spring, much windier than it usually is.
That flag doesn't indicate how hard the wind is blowing.
Right.
As Dave Hansen comes to the plate, Hansen was struck out his first time up, also caught looking at a fastball. Hansen with a pinch hit home run against the Mets, and that was off of Wally Whitehurst. Big home run. Fly ball to center, moving quickly as Johnson. He tracks it down.
Yeah, that was July 20th of last year, and the Mets had a big lead in that game. And you remember in 1989 when Willie Randolph was with the Dodgers in late August, he had a big home run in the 9th inning with 2 outs, a 3-run homer. There's Willie. And that, I think, turned the season around for the Mets. And I think Hansen's home run last year, his first major league home run, really turned the Mets season around. Whatever they were going to do, and their first 90 games, they were over 500 by 14 games, 52 and 38. And I think Hansen's home run that day really turned the Mets season around, and things started going downhill from there, and the Mets end up finishing 5th.
Free fall.
Yeah.
Now the batter, Mike Scioscia. Scioscia taking the first 2 for ball 2, and Scioscia batting for the 2nd time, grounded out the 3rd his first time up. 3-0.
It's funny how you play so many games and see so many pitches, but yet at the end of the season, often a team can point to one single play that was a key moment in the year.
That home run by Randolph was his first in the National League.
Yeah, and he hit it to right field too at Shea Stadium, one of the tougher home run ballparks. That was back in '89, the year after the Dodgers had beaten the Mets in the playoffs in 7 games. Oral Hershiser, the MVP of both the playoffs and the World Series that year.
And Scioscia, after fouling off the 3-0 pitch, fouls off the 3-1 pitch, and the count fills out. Anthony Young this spring 0-1. Well, this performance here is something else.
It is a determined effort tonight.
I'll tell you, it's tough. Spring training and trying to make the ball club. The pressure is on young kids like this, and he's showing what he has. And that ball hit hard. The hardest ball hit tonight by the Dodgers, but right at Murray, and that retires the side in order. So Young has pitched 5 innings and has not given up a base hit. And the score at the end of 4.5 innings, it's the Mets 2, the Dodgers nothing. And here's a word from Mazda. Well, we talked about the weather being nice. It's now starting to sprinkle.
That's all we had to do, right?
Did it again. And as the showers are falling, but always some sunshine around to talk about. And here's Tim McCarver.
I guess it's too early for April showers.
Certainly have had March winds.
Yeah. The Ides of March have brought the winds here in Florida, and the Mets are hoping for a win here tonight. They're 8-9 on the spring, so they're hoping to go to 500 as Jeff McKnight pinch hits for Anthony Young. And you know, often, folks, we have the Budweiser star of the game at the end of the game. Well, this is an easy pick tonight, regardless of what happens. Anthony Young, no hits for the Dodgers through 5 innings, only 1 base runner. Anthony Young struck out 5, he walked 1, and allowed no hits to the Dodgers. So that's an easy pick tonight for the Budweiser star of the game as McKnight takes ball 1, 1-0. Fastball, strike 1.
McKnight hitting .400 this spring, 4 for 10.
Little chopper foul. 1-2 now to Jeff. And as you see, the rain is coming down. This, of course, an official ball game now with the Mets on top 2-0, bottom of the 5th inning. Hit hard to left field. Davis over, and it's over his head. So McKnight into second base with a stand-up double to lead off the 5th inning.
Eric Davis, the left fielder, playing a shallow left field, hoping that the wind would help him out, but this ball hit right through the wind. Hit sharply, and Davis, although not taking off back, could never have caught up with that ball anyway. It was well hit, and the Mets have a runner at second with no one out.
It's like a Kiner 3-wood right there.
Sliced.
So Anthony Young, after no-hitting the Dodgers for 5 innings, is polishing up the silver in the bullpen. This one by Coleman lifted to right field, and Jeff McKnight elects to stay at second base as Strawberry's throw is wide of third, but he was so shallow that McKnight elected properly to stay at second base.
Willie Randolph.
One of the great remarks about Strawberry when he was with the Mets was when he got into a fight at a photo session with Keith Hernandez. Some writers said, well, it's the first time he's hit the cutoff man since he's been with the Mets.
Keith being the first baseman
and the cutoff man.
He being the cutoff man. Well, he didn't hit the cutoff man then either.
He missed him there.
A knuckleball to Willie Randolph is low. Ball 1. Randolph 1 for 1. He was hit by a pitch and scored a run and singled. Low, ball 2, 2-0.
Now, there's some interesting stats right here. The average for ball players at an age in their last year. And Willie Randolph hitting .327 last year at the age of 37. Johnny Cooney, a great ball player, hit .319 at the age of 40.
Play all those years, and then you save your best years as far as batting average is concerned for the last. Mike Schmidt, of course, had better years as far as his home run production, but never as far as batting average.
Old teammate of mine, Hank Sauer, hit .288 at the age of 37.
Surprise in there was Tris Speaker. Overthrown at first base. Randolph sliding. Daniels jumping. McKnight running. An error on shortstop, Jose Offerman. And you talked about it earlier, Ralph, about whether Offerman can play a consistent defensive shortstop for the Dodgers. A big, big question mark.
Now, they are really going to have to sweat this one out. McKnight was going to stay at second, but then the throw way over the head of the first baseman, Daniels, and a blatant error. Second one by the Dodgers in this game.
So the Mets with runners at first and third now. Only one out. And Bobby Bonilla batting right-handed against the knuckleballer Tom Candiotti. What is this all about, as Don Imus would say?
Well, Bonilla was in a slump last year and batted right-handed and hit a home run.
Hit it off John Tudor, left-handed.
He batted left-handed again.
Yeah,
that's right. He batted left-handed against the left-hand pitcher.
Right.
And of course, that's the opposite side for a switch hitter, and he hit a home run.
Hit it in St. Louis of all places, too. Fastball is low, ball 2. So Bobby Bonilla batting right-handed against Tom Candiotti. Low, ball 3. Maybe that's his base on ball side.
I've seen ball players do odd things, especially when you're in the slump. You'll do anything, and sometimes it works. I guess it doesn't make any difference how you hit a knuckleball pitcher. I never tried hitting left-handed. I should have done that.
Well, Bonilla goes up there and draws a walk.
Now, if Howard Johnson bats right-handed, we've got history here.
Conspiratorial. Mets leading 2-0, and they are trying to add on some more as they have the bases loaded. Only one out here in the 5th inning, and Howard Johnson, the batter. Hojo has driven in 12 runs in the last 6 games. Ideal situation to add to that total. He went too far. 0-1 to Johnson. Drive, foul down the right field line. Foul by about 2 feet. 0-2 now to Johnson. (1992) Hojo only 10 hits. We mentioned his RBI total. But those 4 players for the Mets struggling this spring. But the 4 players that are struggling are the 4 that have been, for the most part, in Gallagher and Hundley's spot, guaranteed jobs. Deep to right field. Back is Strawberry. And the wind holding that ball up. It's going to be a sacrifice fly. As McKnight scores, the Mets on top 3-0. But it would have been 6-0 were it not for that wind. Johnson smoking that knuckleball.
You see Howard sort of hesitate and then get back into hitting position. And then gets a lot of bat on this one. It's hit well, but that wind does hold it up, but he gets an RBI, and that's his 14th this spring. Knight coming in to score from 3rd.
And Willie Randolph moving to 3rd. So the Mets with runners at 1st and 3rd, 2 outs. They lead 3-0. And Eddie Murray, the batter. Two of the 3 runs given up by Candiotti unearned in this game. The breaking ball outside. Now, Ralph, you hear that term crafty left-hander a lot of times. I think you rarely hear it about a right-hander.
I never heard it about a right-hander.
Well, I think we've
got one.
I think you can say that about Candiotti. I've never understood that, why a left-hander can be a crafty left-hander, but I've never heard it. I agree with you. I've never heard the term a crafty right-hander, but if it can be said, Candiotti certainly fits that term.
You mentioned one just a little bit earlier, Tudor. Boy, he was a crafty left-hander.
I say. Knuckleball off the glove of Socia, and Bonilla alertly goes to second base. So good base running by Bobby Bonilla as he goes to second on the pass ball by Mike Socia.
One of the problems you have with knuckleball pitchers, you have pass balls, because that knuckleball is so hard to catch. You saw Socia fight that one all the way. When you're on the bases, you really have to be alert. Now he bounces another one. Socia blocks it. He's going to have his hands full. They did get a catcher to catch him if things get too tough.
I think his name is John Watanabe. Three balls, 1 strike to Murray, and he walks. So Eddie trots to first base.
Don Watanabe. And he has been purchased by the Dodgers to be the designated catcher when Candiotti pitches, if and when Socia has problems with that knuckleball.
And if Watanabe indeed is carried on the roster also.
They'd have to give up a regular player to catch him and carry him just for that purpose, and it's a big sacrifice.
That's the The thing, I guess, as you see Jeff Torborg and Barry Foote, to the right of your screen, Jerry Hunsicker, he's in charge of player development for the Mets. It's one thing you have to decide when you sign a knuckleball pitcher as a free agent. It's not the same as signing a pitcher with standard equipment. Well, the Mets score another unearned run and lead 3-0 after 5. We'll be back after this from Chevrolet. Sid Fernandez taking over for Anthony Young. Young was superb. No hits through 5 innings. Only 1 base runner allowed. And the numbers for Sid this spring.
1-1 with an earned run average of 5.14. His first time out was not good, but his last time out he was sensational. Had a little problem with a knee that was injured in a golfing accident when it happened when a golf cart hit his knee. Not the one he had operated on, but the other. But he seems to be in fine shape, and he certainly has come into camp in great shape.
Sid will try to maintain that condition. And, you know, he's come into camp in great shape in past years, and he's gained weight as the season progressed. So Mel Stottlemyre and Jeff Torborg will try to encourage Sid to maintain that svelte figure throughout the season as he faces Jose Offerman to lead off the 6th inning. Mets on top 3-0. Outside, ball 1. Mike Piazza is on deck, and he will be the pinch hitter for Tom Candiotti, who also did a nice job, giving up 2 unearned runs through 5. This one hit hard right inside the line in left field. So Offerman will stop at second. He has a double. He hit that ball like a BB, the first Dodger hit of the night.
Right here, he gets a fastball and just gets right on top of it, hits it very hard. And it's a fair ball all the way. Long run for Coleman, who had Offerman shaded over in left center.
So Offerman leads off the 6th inning with a double, and that'll bring up Mike Piazza. He is a catcher by trade. He's the godchild of Tommy Lasorda. He lives in Norristown, Pennsylvania. And when Tommy was asked about nepotism or the possibility of that, he said, hey, this guy's a heck of a prospect. And we saw it earlier this spring when he homered to right center field. And he hits this one to right center field. Bobby Bonilla in, and he makes the play. 1 away.
Well, there you see Piazza, 444 with 8 hits. Benzinger, of course, has been in the major leagues with Boston and Cincinnati, Kansas City. He's Butler, we mentioned earlier. And Karros also hitting very well. Piazza hit 29 home runs last year at Bakersfield, so he can hit it.
He is strong. As Brett Butler steps up. Butler has walked and grounded to short. He's 0 for 1. 3-0 Mets here in the 6th. High, ball 1. We mentioned earlier, Ralph, that Butler led the National League in runs scored the last 2 years with the Giants and last year with the Dodgers. The first player to lead the National League in runs scored with 2 different teams since Archie Vaughn did it with the Pirates and the Dodgers. Fouled away. Archie did it in 1936 and 1940 with Pittsburgh, and then 1943 with the Dodgers.
Archie Vaughn, a great left-handed batter.
I know you have spoken well of him for a lot of years, and recently in the Hall of Fame, a couple of years ago.
And he hit with a wide open stance. Butler with an open stance, but Vaughn was much wider, much more open than that, and then would swing back in.
By open stance, meaning that more of your body is facing the pitcher. The closed stance, you close more of your back. More of your back is facing the pitcher. High ball 2-2-1.
Vaughn is a shortstop, hit over 380 one year, so it gives you a pretty good idea what kind of production he had. And then he hit the ball hard. He was not a singles hitter. Vaughn hit 2 home runs in an All-Star game and was outshone by Ted Williams in that All-Star game. Williams won the game with a home run himself.
46.
Somewhere in there, 46.
And it had to be 46 when he hit the one off Sewell.
Yeah.
The Ephus ball, Ephus pitch. Slap toward left. And Coleman over and can't make a play. So 2-2 now to Brett Butler. I didn't realize Archie Vaughn hit 2 home runs in that game.
Traded to Brooklyn. Another great ball player that had a fabulous career in the Hall of Fame with the St. Louis Cardinals, Ducky Medwick, was traded to Brooklyn. And then got beamed and never was a hitter after that. When he got beamed while playing for Brooklyn. Before they used the hard hats.
Ducky Medwick, the last Triple Crown winner in the National League back in '37. Batting average, home runs, RBIs. 3 balls, 2 strikes now to Brett Butler. 1 out, Jose Offerman at second base. 3-0 New York here in the 6th. Sid Fernandez in relief of Anthony Young, who pitched 5 hitless innings this evening. Ground ball up the middle, base hit. Offerman will try to score and will score as Howard Johnson bobbles it, retrieves it, and the Dodgers are on the board. An RBI for Brett Butler.
Second baseman, Lenny Harris.
Butler hangs in there against left-handers very well, and he stayed in there against Fernandez, who is very, very tough on left-hand batters. Makes a big turn at first base as he drives in the run for the Dodgers, but Johnson gets to it quick enough to stop him at first.
Ralph, Butler hangs in there so well that his lifetime average is better against left-handers than right-handers. Very unusual. So Butler at first base, driving in the first Dodger run. It's 3-1 now, and Lenny Harris, the batter, he takes all 1. There's a strike, 1-1 to Lenny Harris. Harris only a .230 hitter against left-handers. Usually when left-handers are out there, Mike Sharperson would be the hitter in a situation like this. Mike Sharperson up out of the dugout, no sooner said than done, and he is warming up down right past the Dodger dugout. 2 balls and a strike. There's Mike. One of the final 16 NCAA teams will be meeting this Thursday in Philadelphia. Ground ball right side and through there. Butler's going to go to third base. And Lenny Harris has a base hit. The third hit yielded by Fernandez in this inning. And the Dodgers with runners at first and third, 1 out. And that'll bring up the very, very tough Cal Daniels. Thinking, you think Sweet 16, that's Tommy Lasorda's 16th year with the Dodgers. So this is Sweet 16 for Tommy, too. Having his contract extended through the 1993 season this afternoon.
Well, not many of those teams are going to get by Sweet 16. At least 8 of them won't.
Right.
But Tommy's going to get by this year and another.
Curveball is high to Cal Daniels. Blew that one by, 1-1.
Daniels has tremendous power to left field.
It's an interesting note right there. 15 of his 17 home runs came when the Dodgers won, so he made them count. Yeah, 9 of his 17 home runs were to left field, and you don't often see left-handed batters with power the other way. Of course, Darryl Strawberry has power the other way. Daniels, of course.
Ted Kaczewski had tremendous power the other way. Great home run hitter.
2-1 now to Daniels. It's not unusual to see a lot of right-handed hitters with power the other way. But left-handers, predominantly low ball hitters, have a tendency to get up under balls hit the other way. They hit the lazy flies that way and not the line drive. Daniels fouls it off. 2-2 to Cal. Strikeout number 1 for Fernandez. 2 outs now. And that'll bring up Darryl Strawberry. Strawberry has fanned twice. Butler at third. Harris at first. 2 outs. Fly ball, center field. Johnson over. And he makes the play. The Dodgers are on the board, their first run of the ball game, but it's Mets 3, Dodgers 1 after 5 1/2. And we're back after this from Nissan.
Steve Wilson, the new pitcher for the Dodgers, acquired from Chicago, the Cubs, back on September 6th last year. Acquired on waivers from the Cubs. He was 3-8 at Iowa. With the Cubs, he was no wins and no losses in 8 games. And with the Dodgers, he was 0-0 in 11 games, with the earned run average of 0.
Stan Javier will be the new right fielder. Darryl Strawberry out of there now. Carlos Hernandez is the catcher. Mike Sharperson, the new third baseman. Dave Hansen out of there. Mitch Webster will be the new center fielder. And at shortstop, Dave Anderson. So some wholesale changes here for the Dodgers in the 6th inning. It's 3-1 New York, and Dave Magadan leads it off. And this one almost hit him. Might have gone through him. I mean, that came about as close as it can to hitting you, and you see that little wry grin on the face of Dave Magadan. Check this out.
I think it went through him. He jackknifed out of the way, so he did get out of the way.
Between the belt and the shirt. This one grounded to Anderson at short. 1 out here in the 6th inning. Mets on top, 3-1. The family of Budweiser beers is proud of all the friendships they've helped make. So when they remind you to know when to say when, it's all in the name of friendship. Please know when to say when from our friends at Budweiser. Todd Hundley now the batter. Todd an RBI double in the 2nd inning, and he grounded to second base in the 4th, so he's 1 for 2. The curveball is low, ball 1. There's a strike, 1-1. Tapped foul, a ball and 2 strikes now to Todd. Tom Candiotti worked 5 innings. Steve Wilson, you may remember him from the Chicago Cubs. He had a couple of saves for the Dodgers last year after being claimed from the Cubs by the Dodgers on waivers. Fly ball, left field. Eric Davis over, 2 outs here in the 6th inning, and then it'll send up the pitcher Sid Fernandez.
Playing right field for the Dodgers, number 5, Stan Javier. Pitcher, number 50, Sid Fernandez.
We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. I'm Tim McCarver along with Ralph Kiner. Happy you've joined us. We will have 2 more games in spring training from Florida. I'll tell you about those games as Fernandez takes a fastball high. We'll be on the air at 7:30 on Friday night. And Fernandez rips one to right center, and boy, did he poke that one. Fernandez will have a double as he crosses up the outfield alignment by pulling one into right center field.
Well, Mel Stoudemire enjoys this as he looks on. Sid, who loves the bat, had his first home run against Dan Quisenberry back in 1989, and he's going to watch that a little bit as he cruises into second. Well hit ball.
Yeah, he hit that ball hard. So Sid's at second base, and Vince Coleman will be the batter. Vinny is 0 for 3, and he slices one to right field, but Stan Javier is there. By the way, we mentioned that game on Friday night, and it will be against the New York Yankees. So the New Yorkers will go at each other head-to-head on Friday. Tonight, it's 3-1 Mets after 6, and we'll be back after this from your Tri-State Toyota dealer.
Ladies and gentlemen, you'll turn to page 52 of your Mets 1990.
Sid Fernandez came in the game in the 6th inning and gave up 1 run. He did get a big strikeout of Cal Daniels. I guess they're talking about their hitting right now. Well, on cue, here's Ralph Kiner speaking of hitting.
You know, I think Sid would rather hit than eat, and that's a big statement. And Sid, after the double, is back out on the mound, getting set to work his second inning. Gave up 1 run on 3 hits in the 6th, his first inning of work. Mets leading by a score of 3-1. They have 2 unearned runs in this game. The Dodgers defense making 2 crucial errors. Mets and Dodgers have played 3 games so far this spring. The Dodgers have won 2. So if the Mets win tonight, they'll even it up at 2-2. And it will be Eric Davis to lead it off. Davis has struck out and has popped up to short in his 2 appearances. Hitting .261 coming into this game this spring with no home runs. And a breaking ball for a called strike.
Anybody who throws high fastballs to Eric Davis would give him problems. There's no way to get on top of the high fastball when you hold your bat that low.
And he insists on holding it down there. One thing about it, when he hits it, it'll go, but he has trouble with that fastball up. Trying to get the hands back up high enough to come onto the ball in a fairly level approach. He has had problems trying to stay in the lineup. Never played more than 135 games in the season.
That was that high fastball we were talking about right there. Yeah, Eric is the hitter that the pitchers talk about, and that's his career versus Sid. But he's the type of hitter that you go up the ladder on. Just keep going higher. The deeper in the count you go higher with the fastball. Like that.
And the count 2-2.
Here are those last 2 pitches we talked about above the hands. This is the strike. He swung through this one above the hands. Hernandez tried to come back with another one, and Davis lays off him.
And that pitch chopped out the second. It might be a base hit, and it will be, as Davis still has outstanding speed. As a matter of fact, Eric Davis has the best stolen base percentage of anybody playing in baseball today. So he beats out an infield hit. That puts the time run at the plate, and it'll bring up Mike Sharperson batting for the first time. Sharperson hitting .174 with 5 runs batted in this spring. And a strike 1. Dodgers were held hitless for 5 innings by the starting pitcher for the Mets, Anthony Young, who pitched a very strong 5 innings with 5 strikeouts. The only base runner, a walk to Brett Butler on a 3-2 pitch. Davis is short lead at first, and the breaking ball for a ball, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Sharperson hit .278 for the Dodgers last year with his part-time play. Appeared in 105 games last season with the Dodgers. Two balls, 1 strike.
Sharperson traded from the Toronto Blue Jays back in September of 1987 for Juan Guzman. And the Blue Jays very patient with Guzman, and boy, their patience paid off last year. Terrific year for the young, hard-throwing right-hander. Many picked the Blue Jays to win the American League East. As a matter of fact, I think the Blue Jays are probably the most dominant team in any of the divisions. When you think about it, all the other divisions are pretty well matched up. I think the Blue Jays are head and shoulders above anybody else in the American League East. Boston probably their nearest rivals. Detroit with a shot.
Detroit surprising everybody with no pitching last year, but just unbelievable home run hitting, and
209 home runs led the major leagues.
Two and two the count.
National League West would be any one of 5 teams, really. The 3 main teams: Cincinnati, Atlanta, Los Angeles. And you have the Padres and the Giants as contenders, certainly. So 5 of those 6 teams in the National League East. You have the Mets, Pittsburgh, Chicago, St. Louis. Philadelphia last year finishes 3rd. Improved pitching. Johnny Podres, their pitching coach, did a terrific job. And if they have Dykstra back all year.
They really missed him last year.
Oh, yeah.
Dalton, the catcher.
In the American League West, you got Texas with the best hitting in baseball as a team. They led the majors in runs scored last year. They scored over 800 runs, about 5 a game. They can get any pitching, they should contend.
Minnesota, of course, went from last to first last year.
As did Atlanta. Minnesota picking up
Smiley.
John Smiley.
That's got to be a big acquisition after losing John Morris.
Yeah. Jack Morris going over to Toronto, signing as a free agent. And then you have Oakland, you know, older guys that had some bad years last year, and older guys can bounce back just as well as younger guys can.
There goes a runner, and the ball popped up into shallow center. Johnson coming up. Davis now backtracking toward first. Johnson making the catch, and Sharpison is out. 1 away.
Catcher number 41, Carlos Hernandez.
And that'll bring up the catcher, Carlos Hernandez.
And people, a guy like Dave Stewart, a guy who has a bad year, 11-11 last year with one of the higher ERAs in the big leagues. If you're older like that, people have a tendency to think that you can't come back like a young guy can. But that's just not true. If your physical conditioning is good, you can come back just like young guys, and in some ways more determinedly than younger players can.
Another one for Johnson on the first pitch, and Howard growls that one. And again, Davis back to first. The one thing about veteran ball players who have been outstanding, they don't have to learn how to do it. All they have to do is get it back.
Yeah, just get back on track. At least they have a track record. The younger guys don't, but yet it's the younger guys that they have a tendency to have more patience with in baseball, and sometimes that's wrong.
And now the batter is Dave Anderson, reacquired by the Dodgers, was with San Francisco last year. This time Davis runs a high throw. It's into center field. Davis off to third. And an error will be charged to the catcher, Todd Huntley. And a stolen base credited to Eric Davis. Eric gets his first stolen base of the year.
Throw is high and spins out of control as Davis goes to third. Ball kept going into the runner, and Randolph, trying to stay on the bag and catch the ball, couldn't make the play, and Davis goes to third base.
So a runner at third with 2 men out. 1 ball, no strike count on Dave Anderson, hitting .231 this spring. Fastball high and away, and it's 2-0. Anderson came into the major leagues out of the Dodger farm system, was their shortstop for many years, then moved on to San Francisco, now back with the Dodgers. That's ball 3, so it's 3-0. Ball 4, so Sid Fernandez not having a good outing, walks his first batter. That puts runners at first and third. The tying run now at first base, and that'll bring up Stan Javier, batting for the first time.
Stan Javier.
Mets leading 3-1, but the Dodgers with runners at first and third. 2 men out. We're in the top of the 7th inning. And Sid misses with a slow curveball. Javier last year with the Dodgers hit .205, was in 121 games. Switch hitter, batting from the right-hand side. Came to the Dodgers from Oakland. And it's ball 2 balls and no strikes. Javier was traded for Willie Randolph. So the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Javier originally signed by the Yankees. Actually originally signed as a free agent by St. Louis and then traded to the Yankees. He was in the Ricky Henderson deal when Henderson went to Oakland. 2-1 the count. And it's looped into center field. Johnson hesitates for a moment, but then comes up to make the play to retire the side. So Sid Fernandez gets out of the jam. 1 hit, a walk, 1 error, and 2 men left on base. The score at the end of 6.5 innings. The Mets 3, the Dodgers 1, and we'll return right after this message. And we go now to the bottom of the 7th inning. The Mets leading 3-1, and the first pitch by Steve Wilson, taken for ball 1 as Willie Randolph bats here. And the 7th, Eric Karras from Hackensack, New Jersey, is at first base now for the Dodgers, replacing Cal Daniels. 1 ball, 1 strike. Out in right field, Stan Javier, who has been in the ball game. Actually, that is Mitch Webster in right field, who he also came in the ball game in the last inning. This ball chopped out to the shortstop side and is not handled by the third baseman Mike Sharpton. That should be a base hit. Tough chance for the third baseman. And we'll see how it's going.
That was a tough play for Sharperson. He had to field it on the short hop, and it's going to be scored a base hit for Willie Randolph. Tough play for Mike Sharperson, who was playing relatively deep.
That brings up Bobby Bonilla, who is 0 for 2 with a walk. That's leading 3-1, a runner at first with no one out in the 7th. Steve Wilson, the second pitcher in this game for the Dodgers, and that's ball 1. And Bonilla's first 2 official at-bats were against the knuckleballer Tom Candiotti. And this one popped up. The shortstop Dave Anderson is there, and he makes the play. Raul Mondesi is in center field for the Dodgers.
Center fielder.
Played at Bakersfield and San Antonio last year. And the batter for the Mets, Howard Johnson. Howard 0 for 2 with a run batted in on a sac fly. And he takes a breaking ball for ball 1. Toss to first base. Randolph back. Mets about hit the Dodgers 6-4 in this game, and as we go along, the star of the game for the Mets, the starting pitcher Anthony Young, who pitched 5 hitless innings, and a swing and a miss. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Steve Wilson working his 2nd inning. Again, he throws over to first base. When a pitcher shows that ball back of his back like that, it's easy to pick up the pitches if you read them well. And
of course, if he shows it behind his back and then goes into his glove, which they will do, usually that's not the it won't necessarily indicate what pitch they're throwing, because he comes set with the ball in the glove.
Throws a breaking ball and misses, so it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Howard Johnson with 2 home runs this spring and 14 runs batted in, hitting .213 coming into this game. And it's ball 3, so the count at 3-1.
That's complete games. So you hear about complete games for pitchers. You rarely hear it for non-pitchers. 152 complete games for Howard Johnson last year.
Throw to first base. Randolph back. And the 3-1 pitch, line to left field. Coming up on the ball is Javier, and he makes the catch for the out. Well hit ball by Howard Johnson, but turned into an out. Randolph back to first base, and with 2 men out, the batter will be Eddie Murray. Murray, with a base hit and 2 official at bats, also has walked.
First baseman, Eddie Murray.
Murray, the former Dodger. And he goes after the breaking ball. Murray with 398 career home runs. He takes the strike. A good fastball for strike 2. Time is called, so no pitch. Time called by the home plate umpire. 2 strikes to count. Murray last year hit .260 for the Dodgers with 19 home runs, and the ball gets away from the catcher, Hernandez. And moving on down the wild pitch is Randolph. Carlos Hernandez, the catcher.
Well, Carlos keeps the ball out in front of him. You're trained to keep it out in front of him, but instead of keeping it out in front of him with his chest protector, he keeps it out in front with his shin guard. The shin guard being much harder, of course, than that protector, so the ball caroms about 12 feet away, and it was fielded by Wilson. Wild pitch on Steve Wilson.
1-2. Breaking ball, foul, so the count remains at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hernandez had a great year at Albuquerque last year, and he is the heir apparent. Had a .345 at Albuquerque in 95 games.
He will, in all probability, be the #2 catcher for the Dodgers this year.
Another breaking ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two-two pitch. He did not swing. First base umpire Jerry Meals makes that call, so it goes to 3 balls and 2 strikes on Eddie Murray. Randolph at second with 2 men out. And he struck him out. So that retires a side. The Mets get a base hit but leave one in scoring position. The score at the end of 7. It is the Mets 3 and the Dodgers 1. And here's a word from Mitsubishi. Going now to the top of the 8th. The Mets leading by a score at 3-1. Sid Fernandez getting ready for his 3rd inning of work. Has not been too effective. He's given up 1 run on 4 hits in his first 2 innings. But the Mets leading 3-1. Fine pitching for 5 innings by Anthony Young. He shut out the Dodgers, did not give up a base hit while striking out 5. Sid now working here in the 8th. Will be working his 3rd.
On the air at 7:30 this Friday night. The Mets take on the Yankees right here from Port St. Lucie, and then at 1 o'clock on Saturday, Mets and the Astros, and those will be our last games down here in Florida. Next game will be against the Yankees the day before the season opens from Shea Stadium in New York. And still seats available, we understand, for that game. That's on April 5th.
And Mitch Webster, batting for the first time, goes after the first pitch, and the veteran outfielder pops it up to Eddie Murray at first base. So Sid Fernandez picks up his first out on 1 pitch.
Second baseman, Lenny Harris.
That'll bring up Lenny Harris. Harris batting for the 4th time is 1 for 3. Singled off Sid Fernandez in the 6th inning. And the strike call. The 1-strike pitch. The breaking ball buckles
Jelly legs.
Harris a little bit.
It was your jelly legs, Ralph.
The body was willing, but the legs were weak. The 1-1 delivery.
Oh, there it is again. Another shimmy. There it is again. Double jelly legs. See that buckle on the front first of the front leg. Happened to me a bunch of times, I'll tell you that.
I tell you, Sid can make you buckle. Back with a fastball, it's a half swing and a foul ball.
Yeah, and that's what you get when you throw the 2 curveballs, the 2 buckling of the front legs, and now you throw the fastball, and it's a real express train coming in there. So he has Harris all confused at the plate right now. Tough assignment for a left-handed batter, Sid Fernandez.
Sid Fernandez, an amazing pitcher in the way he is 1, 2, 3 in the history of baseball for fewest hits allowed per 9 innings in his major league career. I mean, nobody hits it. Holds the opposition to around a batting average of 200. He is tough, but he hasn't found a way to put it all together to have big winning seasons. He started his career with the Dodgers, had terrific years in the minor leagues with the Dodgers, pitched and lost a game against San Francisco for the Dodgers, and then was traded. There's a pitch for a ball. It's 3-2.
Well, there are a lot of things that add to Sid's problems. You've heard of the trichodiscophobia is a fear of the number 13. I think Sid's is the fear of the number 6, because the 6th inning usually is his undoing.
And that one is a called strike, and that's a strikeout as Lenny Harris thinks he has ball 4.
Well, the ball was out of the strike zone, but Lenny goes too far. No argument here. He knew it, but he just tried to entice the third base umpire into allowing him to go to first base. But he certainly went too far, and Wally Bell punches him out.
So 2 men out, and that'll bring up Eric Karras, who is batting for the first time.
Third base umpire Wally Bell looked like he relished the idea of punching Lenny Harris out on there. There's Wally. A lot of animation. Lenny's probably thinking, Wally, punch me out, but don't be so happy about it.
Don't enjoy it so much.
Yeah, right.
1 strike to count, and the off-speed pitch fouled away for strike 2. Eric Young is in the on-deck circle for the Dodgers. Played at San Antonio last year. Tommy, sort of the manager of the Dodgers, making more than wholesale changes here tonight. Again, it's hit foul on the first base side. Over there is Eddie Murray. He has room, and he makes the catch, and the side is retired in order. 1-2-3 inning for Sid Fernandez, and the score at the end of 7.5 innings. The Mets 3, the Dodgers 1. Now here's a word from Budweiser.
Jim Gott on the mound in relief of Steve Wilson. The Dodgers have thrown Candiotti for 5, and then Steve Wilson for 2, and now it's Jim Gott.
And Eric Young has taken over at second base for the Dodgers, replacing Lenny Harris. And Bill McCullough will lead off for the Mets. Bill is 0 for 3 in the game. And big Jim Gott over the top of the fastball for ball 1. Got 4 and 3 with 2 saves for the Dodgers last year, and again the fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's been under the knife several times in his career after having an outstanding year with the Pirates, being traded there from San Francisco, and he's back with a fastball again. Claimed on waivers from the Giants by Pittsburgh, and he set a club record with 7 consecutive saves in 7 consecutive games. And there's a strike call, and it's 2-2. 1988, 34 saves for the Pirates. And he goes to 3-2.
Yeah, the Dodgers signed him as a free agent, really took a chance on him, paying him $300,000 in 1990. See how his shoulder did. Or the, you know, sports medicine has come so far, Ralph. You think about 50 years ago, the guys that had rotator cuff problems. I mean, if they had it, they were on the shelf. Dizzy Dean. I wonder what a guy like Dizzy Dean, what he could have done today and how long he would have prolonged his career, say, if they had sports medicine now or then like they do now.
And a swing and a miss, and Pacoda is struck out. So Gott gets his first man.
Well, let's take a look at the Shell financial update. The Dow Jones average down 11.18. Standard & Poor's 500's down 1.03. Gold down a quarter. Silver unchanged. That's our Shell financial update.
And that brings up Dave Magadan, who is 0 for 2 with a walk. Mets leading 3-1 as they bat here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Look at Dizzy Dean, a guy like Dizzy Dean. His record, he only pitched about 8 or 9 years in the major leagues, 150
games.
50 games, one,
yeah. Ground ball to second, and again it's booted, this time by Eric Young. And the Dodgers make their third error in this game. The Mets have 2 unearned runs, and they lead by 2. Earlier in the game, Lenny Harris made an error on a routine ground ball. So Magadan is on, and that will bring up Todd Huntley, who singled his first time up to drive in a run. The Mets' only earned run in this game. Huntley 1 for 3 tonight. We're going to have a pinch runner for Magadan. It's going to be McCray, the fantastic base stealer for the Mets. He's 6 for 6 in stolen bases. Rodney McCray.
Jeff Torborg wants to carry Rodney McCray, but he says that it's just a numbers game. You don't really have the luxury of carrying that many players who are pinch running specialists, but if the Mets can find a way, they will keep McCray on their roster. Played for Jeff when Jeff was the manager of the Chicago White Sox.
McCray stole second and third in our last telecast, and he fakes it going and stays at first base on the pitch to the plate, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. Jeff Torborg, manager of the Mets. Barry Foote, the large fella to his right. That's playing a fairly set lineup here tonight. Gray going in for Magadan. The only change for the Mets other than pitching. Gray draws the throw. Gets back. Gray again makes a fake start and then holds, and it's a strike call for a 2-1 count to Todd Huntley. As Tim pointed out earlier in our broadcast, Huntley was 0 for 21 to start the spring training season. 2-1 the count. McCray again with a big lead draws another throw. McCray says he can run with anybody. He named off Vince Coleman for one. Draws a throw, close play. Eric Carroll, the first baseman.
Probably running here. He's faked a couple of times, but this is a good running situation. 2 balls, 1 strike.
And it's close. He's out. So McCray picked off. He doesn't believe it. But he has been picked off at first.
That's the thing about the sweep tag. I don't know whether Karras tagged him, but Jerry Neals, the first base umpire, thought he did. A very quick move, quick feet with Jim Gott. Yeah, he tagged him. He looked like he was out. Better angle right here.
Yeah, I'd give it a call.
Yeah, I think so. Jeff didn't think he tagged him.
Little blooper into left field. It'll be playable. And the catch is made out there by Mitch Webster. I should say Stan Javier, and that retires the side. So the Mets are out here in the 8th, and the score at the end of 8. So Mets 3 and the Dodgers coming up for their last at bat. Now a word from Bud Light. Phil Picotta, who was at shortstop, has moved over to third base for the Mets. Kevin Diaz has taken over at shortstop. And Rodney McCray has gone into right field, replacing Bobby Bonilla. This copyrighted telecast is authorized under television rights granted by Sterling Doubleday Enterprises, LP, solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Sterling Doubleday Enterprises, LP, and WWOR-TV is prohibited. Any commercial or other use of the program, such as by charging admission for its showing, is likewise prohibited.
We even got the disclaimer changed. 1 word, right? From similarly to likewise. I've been working on it all winter.
Just practicing all winter.
Right.
Just when we got it down pat.
Yeah, right.
Top of the 9th, the Dodgers trailing by 2, and on the mound, Sid Fernandez. And his pitch to Eric Young hit out to right field, where McCray drops the ball, and going to second base and sliding in safely is Young. So an error on a routine fly ball by Rodney McCray. Boy, he's got the one high.
Yeah, this is a ball that's dropped. It wasn't caused by the wind or anything. The elements were not there. He just closed the glove too quickly. Watch the glove. He just closes it too quickly, and the ball has no place to go.
So the tying run now at the plate, and the batter is Raul Modesi, batting for the first time. And the first pitch swung on and missed.
Well, that's some gas right there. That might be the best fastball Fernandez has thrown. Sid's fastball that's up in the strike zone really explodes. And if you're a hitter, it's tough to lay off that pitch, but you have to if you're going to hit him effectively. Some guys you have to get the ball up. Fernandez, you have to make him get the ball down.
Raul batting for the first time with a 1-strike count. And it's strike 2. Modesi was at Bakersfield, where he hit .283 last year in 25 games, then moved up to San Antonio, where he hit .272 in 53 games. Two strikes to count. And this ball hit in the air to left field. Vince Coleman there, and he makes the catch. And Young goes back to second. So 1 away here in the 9th. Mets leading 3-1. And Mike Sharperson will be the batter.
Third baseman, Mike Sharperson.
Sharperson has been up once and flied out to center. So Raul Modesi back to the bench. Hernandez working his 4th inning. He has given up 1 run on 4 hits. The run in 3 of the 4 hits coming in the 6th inning when the Dodgers got on the scoreboard in the fastball for ball 1.
Bill Pecota, the third baseman, was about 3 feet to his left, and I think Barry Foote moved him over to a position where he would be closer to the line. It's about a halfway, which is really a good way to play it. You don't want to be on the line with a right-handed hitter whose likelihood of pulling the ball is not great. Why? Why? Because you got a guy like Fernandez throwing high fastball.
Tough to pull.
Yeah. So Barry Foote, who is Jeff Torborg's defensive coordinator, has moved Pecota closer to the line, but not on the line. Murray at first is straight away also.
1 ball, 1 strike. And he goes to the curveball, and it's in there for a called strike, and it's 1-2.
And the reason you would be closer to the line in situations like this is that Mike Sharperson represents the potential tying run, and you want to cut down the probability of him getting a double or an extra base hit down the line.
Rather give him a double, rather give him a single than a double.
Right.
1-2 pitch, and it's popped off the hands on the second base side. Randolph right there for the catch, and 2 men away, so the Dodgers down to their last out. And the batter will be Carlos Hernandez. Hernandez batted back in the 7th and flied to center. Mets leading 3-1. They've out hit the Dodgers 6-4. There's Barry Foote.
Telling the outfielders to throw the ball to second base. In other words, the runner at second base is not the important run, but the guy with the bat in his hand, if he hits it in the gap, make sure you throw it to second. Forget about the runner at third.
And the fastball for a ball. Runner on base doesn't mean anything with the time run at the plate here in the 9th. No extra base hits is what that's all about.
In other words, if he wants to bunt, give him the bunt right now. And if you're Hernandez, you want the extra base hit, and you forget about the bunt.
This one is popped up and should be playable. Howard Johnson coming up, but back is Randolph. Randolph makes the catch, and the Mets win it. So it's a 3-1 victory for the New York Mets. Anthony Young pitching a great 5 innings, no hits while striking out 5. Sid Fernandez finishing the ball game, went 4 innings, gave up 1 run on 4 hits, and the Mets win it. We'll be back with a wrap-up right after this word from Bud Light. Well, thanks, Roland. And down here in Port St. Lucie, the Mets have evened the record at 9-9 for 18 games of spring training as they defeated the Dodgers by a score of 3-1. The Mets and Dodgers now have played 4 games with each team winning 2. And Tim, a good ball game.
It was a good ball game and well-pitched ball game. Tom Candiotti, the first time we've seen him coming over from the American League. He was impressive, but the most impressive pitcher tonight was Anthony Young. Anthony trying to get a shot at the 5th starter. I'll tell you, if judged on tonight's exhibition, he'll be the 5th starter.
Well, he wasn't perfect, though.
No, right.
He walked a batter.
That's right.
He did pitch 5 outstanding innings while striking out 5, and he is our Budweiser player of the game as he pitched 5 hitless innings and held the Dodgers, of course, to no runs as the Mets won it by a score of 3-1. And we'll be back after this message from Bud Light. Well, the Mets winning by a score of 3-1. Jeff Torborg, the manager of the Mets, the new manager of the Mets, should be happy with what he saw out here, even though Rodney McRae got picked off at first base.
Well, he not only got picked off at first base, but he also dropped the ball in right field. And Ralph, you're talking about Jeff being a hands-on manager. Well, that shot right there shows that Jeff Torborg is a hands-on manager. But he really is.
Literal hands-on manager.
Yeah, right. I mean, you know, all kidding aside, I think he realized how McRae felt and understood that he was trying to make the ball club, and 2 mistakes. He gets picked off and then drops the ball in right field. He just wanted to make sure that he knew that the world's not going to end.
Well, you know, the one thing that you wonder about when you see a manager coming at you like this, when you're kind of shaky, is he's going to release me? Is this it? You know, you get a little nervous about that.
That's right.
But it certainly does help you when you're a young ball player to have a manager say, hey, forget about it. Tomorrow's another day. And thinking down the line a little bit longer than tomorrow, to Friday, we got a pretty good thing going.
Well, I should say, it used to be the Mayor's Trophy game. It's not that anymore, but it's still important. The New Yorkers, the Crosstowners facing each other will be on the air at 7:30 as the Yankees take on the Mets.
And now this message from your Tri-State Ford dealer.
Mets beat the Dodgers tonight to even their spring training record at 9-9. The totals on the game: 3-6-2 for New York, 1-4-3 for the Dodgers. The winning pitcher, Anthony Young, his spring training record now 1-1. Tom Candiotti took the loss. His record now 2 wins and 1 defeat. Mets Baseball 92 has been brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. By your Tri-State Toyota dealers. I love what you do for me. Toyota. By the United States Postal Service, an official Olympic sponsor. By Chemical, intellectual currency, capital strength. By Las Vegas, always on the money. By your Tri-State Quality Ford dealers. See your Ford dealer and see for yourself. And by Coca-Cola. Be sure to stock up for all the Mets games with Coca-Cola Classic. Can't beat the real thing. Fans, be with us again this Friday evening when the Mets take on the New York Yankees. That's March 27th, 7:30 Eastern. The Yankees versus the Mets. Mets Baseball 92 is produced and directed by Jeff Mitchell. Associate producer Steve Olbaum. The announcers on the preceding telecast were approved and contracted for by Sterling Doubleday Enterprises. Executive producer, as always, Rick Miner. This has been a presentation of WWOR-TV, Channel 9 Sports. Good evening, everybody.